This Algebra 2 transformation unit is for students at Northfield High School. And part 1 we are going to be translating up and down, left and right. There are three parent functions that we are going to use in this unit, and the first one is a quadratic function y equals x squared. The function is a parabola, which some of you probably have seen before, and the vertex of the parent function is at 0, 0. Okay, so this is the most basic quadratic function. I like to say it's like the hamburger with nothing on it. It's just plain Jane y equals x squared. The other parent function we're going to look at is a cubic function y equals x cubed. And again, just the plain y equals x cubed. There's nothing happening. Just nothing added or subtracted or anything. Same thing here for the next parent function, y equals absolute value of x. Notice the vertex on all these is at 0, 0, and that's going to change when we start moving it up and down, adding and subtracting to x and y. So first off, anything that is grouped with x creates horizontal change. That's left and right. For example, if we take y equals x minus 3 and we subtract 3 from x, that's going to move our whole function left or right. Now normally you'd think that it would move it to the left because it's subtraction. However, it is going to move it to the right, opposite what you normally would think. So the whole parabola is shifted 3 units to the right. So minus 3 moves it to the right, and the vertex is now at 3, 0. Our next function here, y equals the quantity x plus 4 squared, is going to move it also left or right. In the previous example you saw that minus 3 moves it to the right. So in this case you could guess that plus 4 would move it to the left. So again, adding, you normally think it'd move it to the right, but it actually does move it to the left. So my new vertex now is negative 4, 0. Now anything grouped with y creates a vertical change along the y-axis. That's the up and down. So in the case here of y minus 2 equal to x squared, that is going to be a quadratic function, so it's a parabola, and it's actually going to shift it up 2 units. So again, you'd think minus 2 would shift it down, but it actually shifts it up 2 units. So my vertex now is at 0, 2. And then the next example here we have y plus 5 equals x squared. So what do you think is going to happen if you add 5 to y? Is it going to move it up or is it going to move it down? And hopefully you guessed right, it does. It moves it down 5 units, so adding 5 moves it down, contrary to what you normally would think. And so my new vertex is at 0, negative 5. Some functions are going to have horizontal and vertical change. For example, this function here, y plus 2 is equal to x minus 6 squared. Now this is going to move up, down, left, right. It's going to move in both horizontal and vertical. So if we take a look at where this one moves, grouped with the x produces horizontal change. So x is subtracted by 6, which is going to move it 6 units to the right. The y that affects the vertical change is being added by 2. So normally you'd think again, yeah, it moves it up 2 units, but it's opposite what we normally think, so it's actually down 2 units. So this graph is shifted to the right 2 or right 6, excuse me, and down 2, resulting in a new vertex of 6, negative 2. Notice the shape of the parabola is exactly the same between the red parent function and the pink translated function. The shape is not changing at all. We're just simply sliding the exact function up and down, left and right. Sometimes we have a function that's written with the adding and subtracting that is grouped all on the x side, and this is an important thing to notice here, is that this 5 right here is actually belongs with the y, so we need to get it to the side with the y. We need to move this stuff that's not in the parentheses to the y side. So I'm going to do that by subtracting 5 from both sides, resulting in y minus 5 equals the quantity x plus 3 squared. Once you have it where everything is grouped in its right place, meaning all of the x's are together, everything is in the parentheses here, and there's nothing kind of floating around out here, or there's nothing multiplied out here. Now I can sketch a graph. So there's two things that are going to happen in this graph, and that is my x, my horizontal, is being added by 3, and the y, my vertical change, is subtracted by 5. So it's going to move to the left 3 units and up 5. In another example here, we have y equals x squared minus 3. And this minus 3 doesn't really belong on the side with the x because it's not being raised to the second power. If it were in parentheses, like this plus 3 is over here, then it belongs with the x. But in this case it's not, so we need to move it over with the y again. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. When I do that, I'm left with y plus 3 equals x squared. Now I can sketch a graph. The only change we're going to see here is a vertical change, because my y is the only thing that's affected. And if it's plus 3, that's going to move it up or down 3 units. That is down. So that one moves down 3 units. This concludes the day 1 of translating and moving up and down, left and right. So stay tuned for day 2, and thanks for watching.